Guys, what is going on? Tasty Mond. I thought I'd take it upon myself to do a little video talking about some of the games I'm looking forward to. Confirmed is coming out this year. We all know there's a bunch of cool stuff coming out next year, like Monster Hunter and GTA 6 and all that. Some of the top tier games are coming out next year, but it's no to say there's not a bunch of stuff coming out this year. So I thought I would make a little top 10 list, just naming some of my favorite ones that I'm looking forward to. These are in no particular order or anything, but I'm going to start with, from developer Shift Up, Stellar Blade. And that is actually coming out next month, I think, 26th of April, pretty soon. And it's actually making its rounds on the internet with how good looking the girl is that we're going to be playing in the game. She's got some absolutely crazy costumes that do look dope, I'm not going to lie. I really can't wait to play the game. There was actually a demo that came up, was it like last week or something? It came up by accident. You had like half an hour to download the demo, and if you missed it, you missed out. I missed it. I definitely want to play the demo. I've heard that all the impressions are really good. I'm a huge fan of hack and slash. One of my favorite hack and slashes of all time are games like Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2. Obviously, some of the Devil May Cry's are absolutely fantastic. Early Bayonetta games for myself, so I'm really hoping that Stellar Blade is going to follow suit and be like a really good hack and slash, because I feel like it's a genre that hasn't really been tapped into too much. Like, some games come out here and there, but none of them do it really good, and I genuinely feel like the last game that done hack and slash really well was Devil May Cry 5. I think that game was absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping that Stellar Blade is going to be the next great hack and slash, and we're going to enjoy playing as the main character while we're at it. I'm not sure if there's going to be a PC release for this game, perhaps down the line, I hope so, but right now it's a Sony exclusive, and they're the ones who are actually funding it, so no Xbox this time, PlayStation only, at least at launch. Next up, I've got Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I actually tried playing this last year at some point because I set it up on the Wii for me to play. I only played it for like half an hour and never really got back to it. In that time, they announced a remake. It's basically like a fancy remaster that's coming out on the Switch. It's coming on May 23rd this year, and I'm looking forward to getting into it because I obviously did play Mario RPG last year and I kind of enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to playing some more Mario RPG games, which are a wee bit of a different take on Mario. Next up, I've got Shadow Man Dark Legacy. I'm really looking forward to this one. Only just recently as well, because I literally just got done beating the original Shadow Man tonight, which is a game from 1999. But I played the remastered version that came out a couple of years ago from Night Dev Studios. Guys, I honestly got to say it's some of the best horror, some of the best atmosphere and story that I've seen in a game in a long time. The voice acting was top tier. This was a game that came out in 1999. There hasn't been a sequel to Shadow Man since Shadow Man Second Coming, which came out in 2002 back on the PS2. I absolutely love when they do sequels to games like 20 odd years later. It just makes me feel like it's completely done for the fan base, and developer Blowfish Studios are the ones taking up this sequel. And the original developers, Acclaim, from back in the day, unfortunately they went bankrupt, but they gave us some truly amazing games back in the day, and I really hope this new Shadow Man game can do it justice, and if it's got any of the atmosphere from the original game, then we are in for a treat. I'll try and put up some of the pictures here while I was talking about it, just so you can get a look in it, but yeah. Keep your eye out for this one. It's slated as coming out in Q4 2024 on all platforms, so yeah. Finally, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming out on all platforms. Basically, it was trapped on the Switch for a couple of years. The original Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out on the Switch in 2021, I think it was. I actually bought that game back when it first came out and played it. Back then, I was really in a bad state of health because of COVID. It really affected my life in such a horrible way for a couple of years, and I never really got to enjoy a bunch of games that came out during that period. So I'm really looking forward to Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance, which is basically like a finished version of the original game. It's got like a different story, because I know a lot of people actually criticized the story of Shin Megami 5, but one thing they couldn't criticize was the gameplay was great. I also just got done with a bunch of practice for Shin Megami Tensei because I'm just fresh off a hard mode playthrough on Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, which, oh my god, I cannot believe how good that game was. This year I've kind of like went back and played a couple of games already that I'm like, I don't know how these games are going to be beaten. Like, I don't know how Shin Megami Tensei 5 will end up being better than Nocturne, because that game was that good and I really enjoyed every minute of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this game. It's slated as coming out on June 21st from Atlus, of course. And it's unfortunately coming out on the same day as the Elden Ring DLC. So if you are getting both, you're going to have to like take your pick on what one you are going to be playing. Or are you someone that can actually juggle two games at the same time? I'm definitely not. I need one attention on one game and then I'll move on to the next. But I'm really looking forward to playing this game in a lot better health than I was a couple of years ago. Cannot wait to enjoy it. Speaking of Elden Ring, yes, Shadow of the Erdtree, the DLC, is coming out on, and I just checked here, it's actually a whole day before Shin Megami Tensei 5, so the 20th of June. Gives you a head start if you are looking to play both games, I guess. So that's something. It's hard to believe it's been a whole 2 years since the original Elden Ring came out. And finally we're getting a DLC. It's took quite a long time, and that's quite a good thing about From Software's DLCs, is usually they are made completely after the game came out. Like, it's got its 100% divided attention on the DLC. It's not something that was being worked on the side. Brand new, based on reception from the fans. I think the DLC is going to be great. I really, really do. I did end up making a video a little while ago talking about the pricing of the DLC maybe being a bit too high. And I do still think that the pricing of the DLC is maybe a little bit high for what's maybe going to be included. Like, I hope there's not just a bunch of reskinned bosses, which is something I really had an issue with in the original. Like I said in that video, it's one of the only games I've been burned out on while playing it was Elden Ring, even though it was great. But I much preferred the linear aspect to the game that was more focused on the original Dark Souls side of the games than Bloodborne. Not so much the open world, because there was a whole lot of emptiness in it, you know? Nonetheless, I think Shadow of the Erdtree is going to be a great DLC. I've already pre-purchased it because I'm really looking forward to it. My only issue is it's coming out so close to Shin Megami Tensei 5, but I think I'm probably going to play this over that game first, and then I'll play Shin Megami after it. Two great games coming out right beside each other. I guess Shadow of the Erdtree is not completely a game, but I actually count it as. If it's a DLC coming out, I count it as like a brand new game. Next up, I've got Luigi's Mansion 2. The Plumber's Brother is coming back on June 27th of this year. Originally, Luigi's Mansion 2 came out back in 2013 on the 3DS, so we're finally getting a HD remaster version of this game, finally, and I really wish Nintendo would do a lot more games of this style for the Switch, like Fire Emblem and stuff. That would be amazing. Nonetheless, I actually have this game on the 3DS and I've played it here and there. I've never actually completed it. It actually plays more like a mission structure kind of game from what I remember, and that obviously lends itself to the more portable aspect of what the game was made for. I remember it being a complete upgrade over the first in terms of gameplay that was there. Luigi's Mansion is a great series. I love the original game back on GameCube. I still play it maybe like once a year, once every couple of years, Luigi's Mansion original. I didn't enjoy Luigi's Mansion 3 as much as I thought I would, but I do remember really enjoying parts of Luigi's Mansion 2. So I am going to pick this game up. Maybe I'll pick it out a wee bit later when it's on sale, just purely because a couple of games were out before it, but I'm definitely getting this game at some point this year. Next up, I've got Simon the Sorcerer Origins, coming from Small Things Studios. I'm quite looking forward to this game. It's a point-and-click adventure, and I've been playing a lot of point-and-click adventures over the past couple of years on my stream. Simon the Sorcerer has been around for a long time. The original came out back in 1993, and I remember playing it at my uncle's. Like, it was one of those games where nobody knew like what to do because it was a point-and-click game. You play as a wizard, Simon, and it takes place in like a magical world. It's just like fun kid stuff, and I'm going to feel like a kid when I'm playing this game. It's going to remind me of the days when I was sitting there playing it with my uncle, the original, and that is one of the reasons why I'm picking it up, just for a bit of nostalgia. It is also a point-and-click game, and like I said, I have been playing a lot of point-and-click games over the past couple of years, FMV point-and-click games too. The art style of the game looks fantastic though, guys. Beautiful, cartoonish graphics, amazing style. It looks like it's coming out on all platforms. I'll probably be picking it up on Steam though, just because it is an actual point-and-click adventure, so it feels a lot better using my mouse and keyboard for games like that. Next up, we've got another game from Atlus. It's Metaphor, a brand new IP from Atlus actually. And because I've been such a fan of Atlus games lately, with games like Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, we've got Shin Megami Tensei 5 coming out. We also just had Persona 3 Reload. I wasn't too huge a fan of Persona 3 Reload, but I absolutely love Persona 4. I love Persona 5. So I'm a big Atlus fan. I'm definitely going to be picking up like any new IP that they're making. It says it's coming out in the fall of this year, Metaphor, and from what I've seen, the gameplay looks great. We've not seen too much of the combat yet. I guess they're kind of like keeping it a bit more hush. We'll probably hear a lot more about it in the summer because it's coming out later in the year. But like the world looks great, the characters look great, the voice acting looks awesome. So I think this is genuinely one that you need to keep your eye open for. I think a lot of Atlus games are really good, and I don't think this one's going to be like too visual novel heavy, which is what the more Persona series lead towards. I think this one's going to be a wee bit more action orientated from what I've seen. Also looks like we've got like an overworld map that we can do stuff on. All this looks really intriguing to me. I'm 100% picking this game up day one. It's out on all major platforms except the Switch. That's the only one here that it says it's not coming out on, but who knows what's happening with the Switch 2 whenever that's coming out, so it probably will be on a Nintendo platform at some point. It's also coming out on PS4 for last gen users here as well, so that's pretty good. Keep your eye open for Metaphor. Could be Atlus's next big IP coming in, man. Next up, I've got another little one here. It's Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which is a remake of the original game that came out back in the Wii days, I think it was. I never got around to playing that game back in the day, so I'm definitely going to be picking up this remake. One of the reasons I kind of want to try it though is because I was a big Mickey supporter when I was a kid growing up. Some of the first games I ever played was Castle of Illusion back on the Master System. It was like one of the first 3 games I ever played. I got fond memories of playing that with my next door neighbour. More nostalgia stuff for me. I've also like World of Illusion, which came out in the Mega Drive Genesis back in the day. Mickey Mouse had some genuinely good video games back in the day, and it makes me wish that Disney kept his games going. Well, I want to support the mouse, and I'm going to keep his games going, so I'm going to be picking up Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrushed. It's coming out on every platform, so keep your eye out for it. The last one I've got on the list here is actually the first game I'm going to be playing next week, on the 22nd of March, not far from now. It's Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm really looking forward to trying this game. I've never even played the first one, which came out back in 2012. A pretty dark time for Capcom, actually. A lot of people weren't digging a lot of Capcom games back then, and I think a lot of people didn't really try the original Dragon's Dogma, myself included. I never even got round to it in the years coming. Even in preparation for this game, it's just not happened. One of the reasons I maybe wasn't going to try Dragon's Dogma 2 was purely because I've not played the first game and never really found the time to fit it in. But I'm going to take a risk and go for this game. Everything I've seen looks great. The spell effects look great, the world looks great, the classes look awesome, the quests look good too, from watching some people on Twitch this week playing the first game again, and I'm like, hey man, if the sequel's anything like this, I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I'll be picking it up on PC. Capcom also just released a app earlier this week that I just downloaded today actually, which lets you create your character in preparation for the game coming out next week. So that's great. I just downloaded that. I'm going to be looking at making my characters maybe like tomorrow or the next day in preparation for the game so I can just start it straight up on the 22nd. I will be streaming that game as well, so if anyone from the YouTube channel fancies coming by and seeing what it's like, feel free to drop by the Tasty channel. Usually a lot of the homies hang out and just chill. It's always a fun time. So yeah, keep your eye open for Dragon's Dogma 2. I think it's probably worth. It could be a wee bit more ambitious than some of the other games coming out. I was maybe going to get Ronin, but I'm going to wait for reviews on that one and see how it goes. Dragon's Dogma 2 looking great from what I've seen though. I've got a couple of honourable mentions here on the list. Just might as well bring them up. The reason I've not included them in the actual top 10 list though is because I just don't know if they're actually officially coming out in 2024. They could be slated for 2025 for all we know. Nothing official has been said. So that's why I didn't include them. But they're both games from Konami. It's Silent Hill 2 Remake, which I'm definitely going to be picking up because I thought the trailers looked okay. I mean, everybody's looking pretty forward to the game. It's whether it's going to deliver or no. So there's a lot of expectations on that game. And the same can be said for Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. It's called Metal Gear Solid Delta, I think. They dropped the 3. There's a couple of things that don't really pique my fancy about it. Apparently it's just a straight up graphical update of a remake for Metal Gear Solid 3 when I was kind of hoping they would add new stuff. But nonetheless, if those games are coming out this year, I'm definitely 100% getting them. Another game I have to sly in here that's maybe coming out in 2024 is Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. Originally, it was supposed to be a remake of the original Lollipop Chainsaw that came out back in 2012 that James Gunn was involved with, actually. The game never got a remaster purely because of the fact it's in licensing hell, with the soundtrack in it is absolutely fantastic, so it cannot get remastered purely because of licensing issues. Always sucks when that happens. Genuinely funny game with a great art style. I was looking really forward to a remake of this game coming out because I thought it would be a great opportunity to enhance the mechanics of the hack and slash in the game. But since it's been demoted to a remaster from a couple of months ago, some news leaked about it saying that, I cannot help but say that it's kind of like burst my bubble a little bit looking forward to the game. But nonetheless, I'm still definitely going to be getting it if it is coming out this year because I really want to support any kind of hack and slash that come out because there's barely any that come out. The genre needs some more love. Keep your eye open for Lollipop Chainsaw though, guys. That's my top 10 list with a couple of honourable mentions. Thanks for watching. I might make another one in the mid-year, a couple of months from now, who knows, because there's always new games coming out. But I thought it'd be good to remind people there's definitely a bunch of games still coming out in 2024 to look forward to, because everybody's getting pretty excited saying, oh, 2025 looks like it's going to be the year for big games, but there's still a lot of games coming out in 2024, with a lot of stuff still to get announced. Let me know what you think about the list, and I'll catch you in the next one.